Day 3. George, you're gonna be in our vlog. It's George!
Well, hello. So, as you saw, I had a bunch of videos and just like a couple short clips of our vacation that we took in New York City. I'm sorry that I didn't vlog more than that. We really wanted to just enjoy our time while we were there. But I did want to take a few minutes to go over what kind of books that I bought at the bookstores we visited, what they were, and honestly, it was just an amazing time. We both been to New York City a couple times each in the past. We've never gone together, and it was just a really good time. I really want to go there again, and our friend George, he just was a really great host. We got to spend a lot of time with him too. It's a trip that I won't forget. But before I go into that, I wasn't able to do a dad joke at the beginning of the episode. So, what do you call a fake noodle? An impasta. Okay, so one of the places that we visited, I believe it was the first place that we visited, is Forbidden Planet. It's over on Broadway, 832 Broadway in New York City, of course. I actually have this really cool bookmark that they had given me. There we go. So yeah, they gave me this really cool bookmark. Has that, and then that is the back. And at that place, they had a whole bunch of manga, graphic novels. They had pop figures and a bunch of other like really neat like actual figures. My fiance actually got a Sully. I forget what they're called, but he got a Sully figure there, and it was really neat. So yeah, he got a really cool figure over there. But the majority of the books that I got there were graphic novels, and I'm actually really happy with the graphic novels that I got. So the first one I got is The Wicked and the Divine, Volume 1. I'm really happy that I got this. It's one that I've been really looking forward to. One of my friends told me about it a long time ago, and I just got the first volume to kind of give it a try before I continue reading it, but I haven't seen it in physical copies, so I'm really looking forward to this. I also got the standalone graphic novel, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. Again, it was one that a friend of mine had recommended to me, and again, really excited about this one. Then I also got the 3 volumes of Skyward. So if you don't know, this is a graphic novel series that, from what I've heard, it's if gravity doesn't work anymore, and it's kind of like the life of this one character, and you know, kind of like just this really fantastical world. I'm really excited about this. Maddie over at Books Browsing blog recommended it, read all 3 volumes and loved them. So I'm really excited I was able to get these in physical copy as well. And then the final graphic novel that I picked up, actually my fiance was the one that saw it first and picked it up and really wanted to get it, is The Omnibus of the Pride. I'm, again, really excited to read this one. I'm going to try to fit this in before the end of the month because it is Pride Month, and it just seems perfect to be able to fit this in. So the next bookstore that I had visited was the Greenlight Bookstore, and again, they left me really nice little bookmark. And I actually bought 2 books from that bookstore. The first book that I bought was Severance by Ling Ma. I have heard a lot of really good things from this book. Actually, Noelle Gallagher was the one that introduced me to the book. And yeah, this is one I'm really excited about. And then the other book that I bought from that store that actually my fiance had picked out a few weeks earlier when we were at Barnes & Noble was Talk Bookish to Me by Kate Bromley. Again, seems like a really cool contemporary book about book buying and libraries and reader. Really excited about this one. I do apologize if you would like to know more about the specific books. I just didn't want to make this video too long. I just really wanted to just haul all the books that I bought during the trip. The next bookstore that I visited was McNally Jackson Bookstore. They are considered an independent seller, just like every other store that I've been to. One of the books that I bought was actually a V. Schwab book, The Near Witch. I'm really excited that I got this one because I had not known that she had done another book. I believe this is a YA book. It's either YA or middle grade, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it's one of those books that I wasn't expecting. And yeah, really cool. And then the second book that I bought from there is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've been looking forward to buying this for a very long time. My fiance was kind of pushing me to get this at every single bookstore we went to, and this was one of the last bookstores we went to. So I finally decided to pick this one up. I'm really excited to read this one. It's actually one of my most anticipated reads. Hopefully be able to get to this next month. Okay, so the next bookstore they went to was a Barnes & Noble, but this one was over at Union Square bookstore, Barnes & Noble. I was really excited to go to this one because it was 4 floors, and it was massive, beautiful. The architecture was just, oh, I was so excited to be there. Of course, we got coffee while we were there. The 2 books that I bought there, I'm really happy I bought. The first one is Flight or Fright, 17 Turbulent Tales, edited by Stephen King and Ben Vincent. I didn't know that Stephen King edited and I think wrote some of the short stories in this collection. And it's rare for me to find a Stephen King book that I didn't know about. So I'm really excited to have this one to add to my Stephen King collection. And then the second book that I bought from Barnes & Noble was The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Again, this is one that I was really anticipating to buy. I had heard about this one from Reagan over at Peruse Project. And yeah, I'm really excited to get into this one. It's a start to another fantasy series that he wrote. He's not debut, I believe. Yeah, he's not a debut author, but he never has written a story quite like this one, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. Okay, the next place that I went to, and one that I'm actually was anticipating the most, it was my favorite bookstore. I was so excited to go to it, and I actually, as you saw in the clips before this part, you saw the actual like wall of books that were in this place, and that is the Center for Fiction. So there, I bought 2 books that probably were I was the most excited about. I was really excited to have my hands on these. I wasn't sure if I even would have my hands on these for quite a while, and seeing them physically in that shop, I just had to get them. So the first one is A Master of Gin by P. Jelly Clark. I'm getting the impression of steampunk, of gin and like Egyptian kind of like a Egyptian atmosphere, and oh, I'm so excited for this one. Again, Reagan was the one that introduced me to it, and she read it just recently. I'm so excited to get started on this one. And then the second book that I bought at that one is First Become Ashes by K.M. Spara. Again, one that I've heard from other booktubers, specifically Maddie from Books Browsing blog. One that I was really excited about. I just recently read Docile by him, which is his debut novel, and it blew my mind. It was such a great novel to read, and I'm really excited to read another dystopian book from him. Okay, so the next bookstore that I visited was Books of Wonder. That one was known more for middle grade YA books, and actually my fiance was probably the most excited about that bookstore. It had a lot of really cute books. It was just laid out really nicely. We actually got a free tote from that one, and a really great recommendation for a little cafe just down the block. It was probably the best lunch we've had the entire trip. So we actually got 4 books from that one, and I am happy to say that my fiance actually picked all of these. I told him about a few, and he was really excited to get them, but I'm giving him full credit for this section. Like he definitely was the one that was the most excited about this bookstore, picked out all these books. First one is Hot Dog Girl by Jennifer Duggan, and also Verona Comics by Jennifer Duggan. I told him about Hot Dog Girl, he read the back and fell in love with it immediately, and then we noticed that there was another book from Jennifer Duggan, and I believe her newest book was there too, but we decided to just go with these 2 since they were the paperback versions. He was really excited to get his hands on these, and I'm really excited to read these because Hot Dog Girl was actually mentioned again by Maddie from Books Browsing blog. So really excited to start reading these. The next book that we picked up that completely was done by my fiance is The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang. It looks really cute. It's like a graphic novel, like an American graphic novel. Really cute graphics. It's just simple art, but such a beautiful story. I'm really excited to read this one too. But I know for a fact that my fiance is ecstatic about this. He was the one that picked it out. There was a hardcover version, but we decided to go with the paperback. It just looks beautiful. And the final book that we bought from that bookstore is Jay's Gay Agenda by Jason June. Again, this is one that was recommended by Maddie over at Books Browsing blog. She was reading an arc of this just recently. I believe it was in her last reading vlog. And yeah, this looks so cute. I'm so excited. I really wish I could have found time to read this in the month of June, but unfortunately I had way too many books to get to. But I am looking forward to picking this up at some point soon. Alright, and the final bookstore that we went to, the one that I was the most excited about, and the one that I spent almost every single day during my vacation at, was The Strand. So again, they gave me a really neat little book cover, or bookmark, and it was just, I fell in love with that bookstore. I really want to go back there again because they would just had aisle upon aisle upon aisle of really narrow aisles of books, just tons of books, and not even just new books. They had used books too, of all different price ranges, from like very cheap to relatively expensive to like the point that they would have been if you were to go to a new bookstore. I could not believe the books that we found there. Alright, so one of the books that I found there was You by Caroline Kepnes. I didn't know that this was a book because I have watched the first 2 seasons of You on Netflix. I didn't know it was a book. And when I was reading the back of it, I saw Joe Goldberg, and I immediately was like, I need to get this book. I need to know what the book is like. And I mean, maybe a spoil season 3 that's coming out soon, but I'm really excited to read this one. It was one of the used copies that they had, and I didn't care. I picked this immediately. Another used book that I bought from there is Mr. Penninbrau's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. This is one that was recommended to me by the Reading Glasses podcast. They had mentioned it, and I had heard a few other people mention that it's a really good book. So yeah, one I picked up immediately. They had several copies of this one in varying usedness, I guess you'd say. So I picked the one that was most used because I really didn't care. I just wanted to save a couple dollars. Alright, the next one that I picked up, one that actually my friend George, when he came with us one day, pointed out, said that it was really interesting, is Orcs and Crack by Margaret Atwood. I don't have a lot of books from Margaret Atwood, but this one, I've heard a lot of really good things, especially from George, and this cover specifically, I have not seen before. So it's really cool that it was one of those used copies that I told you about that is not in circulation anymore. So I'm really happy to have this. The next book that I picked up is The Space Between Stars by Anne Corlett. Again, it's a hardcover that was used over there. It looks really beautiful. I have heard from a few booktubers that this is really interesting, and I'm really excited to pick this up. And last but certainly not least, 2 finds that I am just ecstatic about, that I'm so happy I found. You might not know this, but I have collected almost all of the Eye of the World series by Robert Jordan. And I'm actually going to be starting to read that hopefully in the next month or 2. I'm starting obviously with Eye of the World. But I've been trying to pick up the last few books that I didn't have. There were a few holes in the series that I didn't have. And they actually not only had 2 of the books that I don't have, but they had the original hardcover that is not in circulation anymore, that is not being sold. So I have book 11 in hardcover, and it's just, like, just looking at the cover, it is beautiful. And not in awful condition. I mean, there's a little bit of water damage, but like, I'm just so lucky to have this hardcover of the book. So I have book 11, and I also have book 12, again, hardcover, the first edition, and it just looks beautiful. And again, actually this one's in even better condition than book 11 was. Like, I'm just so lucky to have found these 2. Okay, so that is the haul, all of the books that I bought on my New York City vacation. Obviously, we bought a few other things. We bought some bookmarks, we bought some like different collectibles. Actually, one other thing that I will point out, I found this Stephen King Funko Pop as well. It's just him with holding a book. The other one back there is holding a red balloon. I just thought that was really neat that there was one where it was just him holding a book. So had to add that to my Stephen King collection. But I'm just so happy to have been able, and so blessed to be able to have gone on this vacation with my fiance and to spend that time with my friend George at his apartment, or actually at his house. I'm so happy that we could have gone. I really want to go again sometime in the future and to be able to visit a lot of these bookstores again. And I'm just so happy that I was able to support local bookstores and to really, I don't know, even just to find books that I have heard about but have never seen in person. So thank you again for checking out all of the clips that we had of our vacation, and to be interested in all the books that I bought. Hopefully I'll be reading quite a few of them in the next few months, so you're going to get my impressions of how I felt about them. But if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, please like this video, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.